Hello everyone, I'm Shubhi Gupta from Ryan International School Noida Extension. By this documentary, we will be learning more about time travel through literature and movies.
If time travel is possible, why haven't we met a single time traveler yet? And if we did meet one, how would we know they weren't faking it? What would their time machine look like? And how would they operate it? Would there be any set of rules they follow? And what would happen if they decide to broke them? All these are just a bunch of mystery questions for all of us.
Time travel is a concept that has been explored since the early 90s. It's a widely recognized concept in both philosophy and fiction. We must thank H.G. Wells for the popularization of time travel. His novel titled The Time Machine was published in 1895, as it sowed down the seeds of questions we ask today about time travel. If you're a fan of comics, you must have seen characters like Flash travel back in time using the Speed Force. What if we tell you that we might have a time traveler in our midst today? Someone with so many achievements that we doubt whether he's a human or not. Ways you can travel in time: backward or forward. The crazy thing is, there are people traveling forward in time as you watch this video. Time traveling in the past can be a bit more tricky, but with the new researches that suggest that it is possible as well as safe. The question here is, would you do it? A high number of time travel stories are really at their essence are just therapeutic tales of self-improvement or personal fulfillment. A time travel movie focused on an individual let us the chance to go back in time and correct our mistakes, recovered a missed opportunity and glimpse our unknowable future, or have as many do-overs as we need to get it right. Just like Charlie, the central character in the chapter The Third Level of our book, where he attempts to escape from reality by hallucinating and getting away to the third level, even though the Grand Central Station only consisted of 2 levels. Among the most famous time travel movies ever is the 1985's Back to the Future. It exemplifies the fantasy of fixing the past in order to set the present on the right track. It's where the protagonist spends most of the movie trying to not ruin the past and not accidentally prevent himself from being born. Albert Einstein's incredible legacy, which includes over 300 scientific papers and theories like
special theory of relativity, speed of light, and the general theory of relativity, which allows for the real possibility of time travel.
the grandfather paradox is considered the most popular objection to the logical possibility of backward time travel. It characterizes a hypothetical situation in which a time traveler goes back to the past and end up causing an event which make the traveling to the past and altering to impossible. What this means is that if you go back in time and kill your grandfather, you don't exist, which means that your grandfather cannot be killed. This arises to the question that if Clara killed her grandfather, that means her father was never been born. And if that happens, it means that Clara was never been born. Which ultimately gives us the question that if she wasn't being born, how was the time machine created? Because the time machine was created by Clara, and if no Clara, that means no time machine. So, how did she went back in time to kill his grandfather? Confusing, isn't it? That is why it is known as the grandfather paradox. In 1998, a gentleman named John Titor arrived from the future. He claimed that General Electricity managed to do time travel from the year 2034. He even showed and described the traveling devices he used. And then Titor vanished abruptly as he appeared. He did finish the mission, did he? Or wasn't he real at all? How could we know that? Even though the concept of time travel has been around for a century, physicists haven't made such progress with the subject outside physics. Some ancient myth would depicted a character moving forward in time. In Hindu mythology, the story about King Raivata, who traveled to heaven to meet the creator Brahma, is well known upon his return to earth despite many ages, that is, 27 Chaturyudas have been passed. There's one more story very prevalent in the Japanese culture about Orochimaru and his time travel. One day, a young fisherman named Oroshima Taro is fishing when he noticed a group of children torturing a small turtle. Taro saved it and let it go back into the sea. The next day, a huge turtle approached him and told him that the small turtle had been saved is the daughter of the Emperor of the Sea, who wants to see him and thank him. The turtle magically gives Taro gills and bring him to the bottom of the sea, to the palace of Dragon God. Taro stayed there with the princess for 3 days. But soon he wanted to go back to his village and see his aging mother, so he requested them for the permission to leave. The princess says she is sorry to see him go, but wishes him well and gave him a mysterious box named Tame Tobacco, but which she tells him never to open. Taro grabs the box, jumps onto the back of the turtle, and that he brought him there and soon at the seashore. When he goes back home, everything was changed. His home is gone, his mother has vanished, and the people who he knew were nowhere to be found. He asked if anybody knows a man called Oroshima Taro. The answer they gave him that they heard of someone of this name, but he has vanished a long year ago. Taro discovered that 300 years have been passed since the day he left for the bottom of the sea. Struck by the grief, he absent-mindedly opened the box that the princess gave him, from which burst forth a cloud of white smoke. He suddenly aged, his long beard and white and his black belt. From the sea comes the sad, sweet voice of the princess. I told you not to open the box. In it was your old age. While some physicists argue whether time travel is possible, others call it a rivale. They think that time travel is in fact an illusion, and our reality is just a complex network of events into which we project sequences of past, present, or future.